on the way out.
Oh, welcome, man. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for asking me to do this.
Pretend like we already didn't say hello.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here, and that you asked me, or we're curious to hear more, I guess, whatever we're talking about. So yeah.
So when I did reach out to you to do this, you said this was the anniversary for your brother.
Yeah, of his death. Yeah, 4 years ago. Yeah. And yeah, so I thought today being that day was kind of good timing, and he's been on my heart, and that definitely can talk about that.
Yeah.
And that journey, for me and what I know of what it was for him, and because it was depression that took him out, right? And I've suffered from addiction, alcohol addiction, and been to some dark places, but not he had the depression without necessarily having the addiction, or at least as far as I was aware, right? And it was almost a little different, but in the same, it's all, what's going on in our thinking. And so I don't know if, addiction leads to depression in a sense, so because we isolate ourselves, and our thinking gets, pretty squirrely when we're, isolated and doing the same thing that's destroying us. But yeah, when you have like what appears like on the outside, like a really great life, and good job, beautiful wife, beautiful kids, built his house out in Armstrong, it's just what was going on, upstairs in the head. And his thinking really took over with I don't know, there was maybe chemical imbalances, but ultimately it was his thinking patterns that told him he wasn't enough, he wasn't doing enough, just all these things that weren't true. So yeah, that's the gist of it. We can certainly talk a lot more in detail.
Yeah
About it.
Yeah, it's a tough subject. So if I'm poking in any areas you don't want to talk about or anything like that, definitely let me know.
Yeah.
Like, what was your guys' childhood like?
Yeah, I can start there. So like I was born 1983 September, and he was May 2nd, 1985, so less than 2 years apart. And he was always a pretty big boy, and so I might have had an inch on him, sometimes only half an inch, or depending where we were in our growth spurts and stuff. And he was always very athletic too, so we had that in common. We'd do all sorts of things together, like I had my friends, he had his friends, and then sometimes we could all come together, and me and him would even just play together. I remember doing like airplane, we'd make paper airplanes, we'd each make like 10 of them and do this huge competition in the backyard and keep stats of each one and play for hours, right? And we were like chasing each other around the yard. We had a patch of chives, so we'd eat a whole bunch of chives, so you get that terrible breath, and then blow in your brother's face, right? And then chase him around the yard and stuff like that we did together, right? And he did well. I really, I guess, excelled in school academically, and maybe he was maybe just more average, but he really excelled like with the sports and stuff. And the other thing about him is like that I didn't have is like maybe because school and stuff came pretty easy to me, is like I just did it like as little work as possible. Whereas, he really developed this work ethic, and he even got his accounting designation before me. I never got my accounting designation, but he started school, like college, 2 years after me, and I got sidetracked, I guess, started taking just a couple classes. I got, my business admin 2-year diploma, but then it took like 8 years before I actually got my degree, whereas he was just boom, right on it, and right took an accountant and got his designation. And but that was his work ethic, and I think he carried that into being like a family man, and I guess that's a pride, being that strong fatherly person, and he was very much cared about his family, so much like that was so much of his focus that. We were talking about childhood, I got away from that, but I think he lost his identity almost in that that was maybe something that he kept him separate from other men and male contact, and just opening up, because he was so like, just some examples where like, hey Scott, come do this, and he's like, oh no, I got to do this with the family, but so much so that maybe it wasn't totally healthy. And I even remember we did a big family event, that other shirt I was wearing over there, the ski to sea or ski to tree. And well, he did the ski to sea. And that was, with all the cousins, the Atkinson family, and there's 7 of us, and that was pretty awesome. And Scotty ran 14K, and he must have passed like a whole ton of people. He ran 14K in like 4-minute kilometers in Kelowna there. Me and my cousin Blair, we did the canoeing, and that was pretty awesome. But then a few years later, we were doing it, I guess maybe 5 years later, the year he passed, so a while later. It was ski to tree, and we were getting the whole family together again, and he declined. He said, "Oh, no, can't afford it," and this, that. It was in Kelowna, and I think back, I was thinking about that earlier today. It's like, oh, maybe there's something more going on there. I was kind of like, oh, that was kind of silly, but like, if I really thought about it, it's like, maybe that was a bit of a sign, like, what was really going on there for, I don't know, 40 or 60 or whatever bucks it was. Mm-hmm. It would have been awesome if he was there, and, with the family and crushing it. We did great. It was a really great family event. It was too bad he wasn't there. Looking back at childhood, it was good. We had a really good upbringing, I'd say, with my parents. It was very stable. We grew up in Coldstream, went to Coldstream Elementary, Cal High School, Okanagan College, and we only moved once really from Birch Lane to Fairmont Place. Always lived on cul-de-sacs, dead-end roads. Had lots of friends, and he did too. He was like the captain of the hockey teams, captain of the rugby team. He was the kicker for the rugby team. So last man back, he was big and fast. He could tackle everyone. He could kick it, long ways. And he was always, that kind of star athlete, which was great for me, right? It kept me, I had to keep up to him as well.
Sure.
Yeah. So we had lots of great memories together, and I had a lot of respect for him. He did so many good things, the school, what was it, drama production where he was singing and stuff, like, he had, I'd say, a lot of courage. He was willing to put himself out there in front of people and, like act or make people laugh. And, I guess the one thing I reflected on in a lot, after he passed was like, as you see him and you don't see people when they're alone. Like he show up into, say, a family event or something, and he'd be, big hugs, like, "Hey guys," like kind of uncle I wanted to be to my niece and nephews. But you don't see people when they're alone, right? When you see him, he's around other people and he's happy and stuff, and it's probably not, not faking it, but when he's all alone and, the thoughts that are going on in there, and that's something that definitely stuck out to me. Is like, you don't see people when they're all alone. You only see them. I only see someone else when they're at least around me, so yeah.
No, that's very valid point, and I can relate to that. And I've definitely had my own mental health struggles, but like, this persona or character that I portrayed to the real world, it's like, not that it's not real, but sometimes it's hard to admit, like, hey, I'm actually not doing super well right now, like, and it's usually when I'm stuck in my head or in fear about the future, or like, it's stuff that can be solved either by action or just like talking to someone about it.
Yeah.
Maybe not always, but not talking about it doesn't make it any better.
Yeah.
That much I do know.
Yeah. I say for my healing process, definitely talking about my brother and learning more about, depression and the helplines and how can I be there for the next person has been a huge part of my healing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But have you found that you've been down at all more, like, recently or this time of year, or like?
Definitely fairly recently. Like the split with the fiance was like pretty.
That's a
big thing.
Major grief there, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure if I fully processed that in its entirety, but definitely a little bit. But I mean, even though it was pretty mutual and we both kind of knew, like, hey, this isn't really working anymore, there was a lot of fear involved in that. Like, she actually said something to me that was pretty eye-opening. She's like, I feel like if I didn't bring this up, you wouldn't have brought it up and you would have just kept pushing along even though you're not happy. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, like,
you guys could both feel it then, eh?
Oh yeah. And that hit me because I probably would have just not said anything. Yeah. Tried to make it work, even though
you see that as a gift?
Oh yeah. Big time. like, I'm so grateful that she said that too. Like, it brought me a lot of awareness.
Yeah.
And a lot of awareness, like, moving forward too, is like, if I feel like it's not working, we're just gonna have to talk about it. Like, it's not gonna go away, without addressing it.
Yeah.
But a question about your brother. Do you think that he was struggling with his mental health at all, like in teenage years or like early adulthood, or do you think this is something that came on later on?
That's a good question, because I really don't know, and it's something I've wondered about. I know you had some challenges a year or 2 years before this. It came on really strong in 2021, I guess it would have been. I know in the summer, I met with him when he was really struggling. But, I don't recall really talking about how long it had been going on, but a summer or two before that, he'd had some just, marital challenges and some tough things going through. And a lot of it, when I looked at, he told me the stuff he did, I think, I do that. My girlfriend knows I do that. It's like, at the time, right? Like, what's the big deal? But for him, it was like crushing, right? It was just like how hard he was on himself. And so what was the question?
The question was like, do you think he was dealing with any mental health stuff in teenage years or like
when he was younger?
Adulthood?
Yeah. I think like I probably was. I think back to like my teenage years, would I have, say when I was in my 20s and someone asked me that question, did you struggle with your mental health? And I said, no. And I probably was struggling with my mental health in my 20s, and you're struggling with your mental health? No. Right? I didn't know, right? I didn't know that I was struggling or, some of those stress. I guess like I remember a lot as a teenager lying in bed at night and just being, I guess, confused or just about all sorts of things. And even some things as simple as, I liked wearing sweatpants in elementary school, and I was like, oh crap, like I'm going to high school soon. I have to wear jeans. I don't want to wear jeans. Like I'm nervous about this. Like it would keep me up, like awake at night, like stressful. So, I mean, stuff like that, is that a mental health thing, or is that just, and I say like I had a great upbringing and stuff, but I guess that's where the one place where I'm like, well, maybe there could have been more awareness, for my parents to open up those doors of communication and say, hey, if you got any, thoughts you're struggling with or whatever, talk about it. And but so I assume that probably similar stuff was going on for him. But really, you look at our childhood, it was, from the outside, it certainly was pretty great. And even, from the inside, I'd say it was, not bad at all. It was,
Why do you think it's so tough for men to like open up when they're not doing well mentally?
I would say anytime, but maybe especially when they're not doing well mentally. But I think men especially, it's this idea of, I got to be strong, and I can't show this weakness, which, and I've come to learn like that's the opposite, like if you become vulnerable, that's the courageous and strong thing to do, and say, hey, I need help, I'm struggling. And why? And it's quite, when you think about it, it's quite obvious. It's like, if you're struggling, you need help, and you're scared to ask for help, and you do that, that's a courageous thing, right? Courage is not the absence of fear, it's like having fear and doing it anyway, right? 100%. So, but I think there's a lot of misconception there, right? That shows that I'm weak and I'm letting people down, and but if you're struggling, if you don't get to the root of the cause, it's not going to go well. Not typically. No.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
See, like I've even had, like what you were talking about earlier, like the kind of the identity thing, and I almost feel like, oh, I've built an identity now that I'm a happy person, right? And I truly strive to be a happy person. And like this book up here, The Untethered Soul. So that kind of got me on that journey of like, oh, I can be more than just okay, right? Going through my brother's death, I learned I can be okay going through anything. If I don't pick up a drink, I'm going to be okay. And that really eliminated my anxiety, because my anxiety basically came from uncertainty of the future, and am I going to be okay? And so I really, eliminated that. And then reading that book, it was about the 1 year anniversary of his death, and we did a big family adventure out to Mexico, and stayed at a beautiful resort with my parents and my sister and her family, and my sister-in-law and her family, and And so it was like a healing thing, like just over a year after. And I read The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, in their chapter 15, the path of unconditional happiness. And he talks about it's like the highest spiritual path is life itself, and like the path of unconditional happiness. And then all of life becomes your teacher, right? And so, and you get to a certain point where you're vibing pretty good all the time. And he talks about, it's like, oh, something hits you and now you're disturbed. And like, yes, that's a good thing, right? Like now I got one, right? So what's underneath that? So now I've found something else that I can learn about myself and let go of, right? Calls them samskaras, past memories you've stuffed down, basically. But so, I've tried to practice that to the best of my ability, really, and it kind of goes along with the program and the steps and all that, right? The self-searching and building of character, really. And it comes through awareness. But I think what I was saying there is like building this identity around it, that, yeah, I want to be a happy person. Yes, this is my goal. I want to be happy as much as possible, as much as the time, whether that's just contentedness and peacefulness or like, ecstatic joyfulness, but then I have felt a couple times where I've been down recently, and I mean, it happens every once in a while, but even so, I'd say a couple weeks ago was a Thursday, Friday, and then a couple weeks before that happened to be a Thursday, Friday as well. And that's just not, not typical for me, but then it's like, well, I don't want to tell anyone that I'm not feeling great, and or maybe I just won't go to a meeting because I won't bring the the full energy that I usually bring, right? And because I don't want to show people that I'm not happy. But you know what? Even those days, like I say that, like I was still doing half decent, and I think I did still go to meetings, and when I did show up, being around people that picks up your spirits and stuff anyway. And I think one of those mornings I, started out the day really well, and I kind of just went home and just got this feeling I just don't want to do anything. And I think I was overworking a bit, maybe, going 3 or 4 days in a row, working, late. And it's just like, okay, it's body and stuff telling you to take a break. And this time of year, the days get shorter quickly, and thinking about my brother. And I guess that, the other thing that's happened in my life recently is just, my kids are growing up, and I have shared parenting, and my daughter's just choosing that she wants to sleep at her mom's more often. And, she's 11 and very mature, very wise, like this amazing daughter. And so that's been a challenge. I think even a little bit of grief there, because, for a bit I was fighting it like, what am I doing wrong? What's wrong with me? What, how do we fix this? And how do we make it? And maybe it's not really anything about me, but regardless, it is tough, right? I guess there's a little fear there that I'm losing that relationship, or I could. But when we hang out together, we have such an amazing time, and so it's good. But I have to put things in perspective, and there I have to be willing to actually talk about it, because I noticed that was maybe causing some of my struggles, and I went to a meeting and talked to a few people, and lo and behold, start feeling a little better about it, and realize, and then even just talking it out kind of sheds light to some of these ideas that I'm even getting close, like beating myself up that I'm doing something wrong. And like when you put it out into the open, it's like, it just is what it is, and it's it's what she's deciding, and how she feels comfortable, and we still have a great relationship, and but so it is a bit of a challenge,
Yeah, from the outside, man, you seem like a great father.
Oh, well, thank you.
Seeing you do stuff with your kids all the time is awesome. Like, I don't think many kids get that kind of experience, like an active, fun dad is like, it's
and
cool,
they do have a great mom too. She's super active and athletic too. But I do try to get out and do stuff with the kids. I'm grateful that they're, so active as well, and they like doing it too. And they excel in their sports, whether it's volleyball and soccer for my daughter, and mountain biking for my son. And it's pretty cool to see, how passionate they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome from the outside too. It's inspiring, man. Like, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man, where to go with this? After your brother passed away, what was that first year like for you?
First year, so I guess I'll go right back to like that day. I was, it was during COVID, so working from home, and had too much work on my plate. Kind of stressed out from the work, and then I start getting these messages like, "Oh, we don't know where Scott is. Can you come up to the house and this and that?" I'm like, "Well, how's that going to help?" And I reached out to a couple of people that maybe, because I'd connected them to a men's group that I was going to, and so I thought maybe some of those guys. But anyway, eventually they called me, and someone just told me what had happened. They needed to get me up to the house. They wanted to tell me in person, right? But yeah, I just overworked and stressed out during COVID, and then that happened, and yeah, being with the family there, everyone's sad, and it was horrible. Skip over that. I went to yoga shortly, a few hours after, and then I went to a meeting and got lots of hugs, and I was super grateful. Like, I had that whole community, and I think for the rest of my family, like they didn't so much. I felt like the grief was intense, like, and it comes on like in waves, like I'm sure you've heard of or maybe felt. But I had to get to acceptance quickly. I was fortunate, I guess. My son had a hockey tournament in Williams Lake that weekend right after. And it was like, well, we gotta go, because what are we gonna do? Just stay here and be sad, or So we went, and my ex-wife, she came too, and so that was good. She had the kids one night. I had them one night in Williams Lake, and lo and behold, I was reaching out on the dating app and met a lady, and we had this great connection. And what's cool about this is she was a counselor, and actually, she did grief counseling and a bunch of other counseling. And we had a great connection beyond all that too. And I ended up hanging out and chatted till like 2 a.m. or something. I had to go and get my son at 6 a.m. for his game the next day. And then she provided me with all the crisis lines, other things. She was, I think, like a supervisor. So like if someone had called like the suicide crisis line and it got escalated, she'd be taking those calls. Like, so it was pretty wild. I thought, geez, if my brother had called that line and it got escalated, like she could have been talking to her, type thing. And so that was kind of just really amazing how that worked out. And she was a really, really great support, and it was, the first few days and a couple months there. And then the community that I had, and I talked about it a lot. I just talked about Scott and how great he was, and the impact he had in my life, and for me that was a good way, as far as healing and stuff, and then learning more about how can I help the next person. Even today, I was reflecting on there are people who've reached out and said, dude, you've impacted my life in such a way. I don't want to say I've saved anyone's life, but that's basically what I've been told, and I don't know if that's necessarily true, right? I could say these people say anything happens, and you have impact on people's lives, and maybe it changes the direction, and if I can have a positive impact on people's lives and maybe change the direction, and it is nice when someone says, dude, I would have been dead if you didn't show up that day. I'm like, yeah, that does feel good. Yeah. And I'm still here because it could have been me, and even mom said to me one time, well, we thought it would have been you, and I totally, I get that. I'm like, because I was struggled for so long, right? And Scott always seemed like, he had it basically together, right? And I think he did maybe a good job of hiding it for longer than, I don't know how long, right? Sure. I don't know. Yeah. So, connection and talking about it was huge in healing for me. And then eventually coming to realize, that in my opinion, he died because he believed in lies, and then continuing to, really watch my thinking and being kind to myself. At some point, through that journey, I come to this realization, like, people are always basically kind to me. Like, it's, I think I could count it once or twice in a year that people are even rude to me, or in general, people are just kind. I guess maybe I put a little bit of that out, but if I continue to put that out and people are kind to me, the only missing link there is my self-talk and how I'm talking to myself. So if everybody else is kind to me and I start talking to myself kindly, well, it becomes a pretty happy place to live.
Sure.
But, I think we're so hard on ourselves. So many people are, and I know Scott was, and I was in the past, and I really had to learn how to, become a better version of myself without the hammer and beat myself up and saying, you're not good enough, so you need to become better. It's like, no, I love myself, and I want to become better because I love myself, right? I like the saying, comes from the book Good Morning, I Love You by Shauna Sharapova. I think it's a mindfulness book, but perfect as I'm perfect as I am. I'm perfect as I am. Why am I saying that wrong? I'm perfect as I am. Mm-hmm. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm perfect as I am, and there's room for improvement. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not that I've got everything figured out, because what is perfect anyway? Like, there is no perfect. I mean, I think in this moment, this is perfection. And I like that word now. It's kind of fun to talk about, right? Because you hear people say, I'm not perfect. Well, I say we're all perfect. And that comes from Don Miguel Ruiz up there, The Four Agreements. That's a huge book. And he's got the book, The Voice of Knowledge, which actually showed up in my, off Amazon, showed up just before going on the week out to the family cabin, which my brother had tattooed on his arm, like a very special place, right? And I read it out there, and that's where I realized, oh man, like, he talks about how we believe in lies, and that's what Scott got. These lies took over his thinking, right? And that's a good book, Voice of Knowledge.
You just unlocked a memory for me.
Yeah.
Closer to the beginning of my sobriety, at the Armstrong group one time, you were talking about your brother. I remember exactly what you said, but I know that it was moving. Furthermore, you actually gave me this book, The Four Agreements. I don't know if you remember that, but you gave that to
probably,
me.
Yeah, I don't know if I remember specific. I've given away, I think, 100 of them now.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. I feel like it's a full circle moment in a way. But what were some of the key ideas or principles that helped you diminish that negative self-talk and listening to those thoughts?
Oh, well, I like what Don Miguel Ruiz talks about in The Voice of Knowledge. And I mean, I guess it goes back to even the story in the Bible, Adam and Eve, and he kind of tells it a little differently. But basically, if God is perfect and we are made in the image of God, then I think we are all perfect, like that, and that reasoning makes sense to me. And and that whole saying, "I'm perfect as I am," and there's room for improvement. And just these other realizations that the kindness thing, right? People are kind to me if I can just be kind to myself, and that ultimately, it's so you think we're just sitting in a chair, and can someone go and sit in a chair for say 10 hours and be okay? And just as an example, say, go sit on a chair on the bench, people are walking by and just sit there. Can you be okay just being? And I think, from the outside image, and you look at a person just sitting there, you're just sitting there in the world, why wouldn't you be okay? Sure. But then there's all this stuff just swirling around in here. I like the example, go try to stand downtown just on the sidewalk and just stand there and be comfortable. And people would be walking by why is this guy just standing here, right? Mm-hmm. Can you do it? I don't know. I've tried. I can. If the sun's out, I can do it.
The sun
meditate
helps.
in the sun. I'm doing something. It looks like I'm doing something. Yeah.
There is something about the sun, man, that definitely brings a calmness to me too. I just look at it and close my eyes, and it's I like to envision it's charging me up.
Yeah. Totally.
So those pieces that you just talked about, was it a light bulb moment and this bad thinking was gone, or was this a lot of work to?
Oh, I'd say just an evolution over time,
Sure.
And when Scott passed, I'd already been kind of, on that path for 3 years, and he kind of reinforced and pushed me to continue seeking, right? I guess is the right word. Whereas, maybe it would have been easy to become stagnant, and I'd say I had a week that summer when I met with Scott where it was just all these amazing things were happening, and I think I made a charitable donation, and then I got my name in a draw, and I actually won the draw. And then when they gave me the things, one of the things was a free month at the yoga studio I go to, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I wonder, my pass is running out soon. And they look it up, so, oh, actually it's today, we'll apply this month. And then, there were several other things. That was just one little thing. I remember I came home from the family cabin after I'd read the book out there, The Voice of Knowledge, and I remember looking in the mirror And like I always had this idea, I'm like, okay, I exercise and stuff. I'm like, I'd like to, look a certain way and be in shape. And I always thought, I'll never actually be able to do it because it's not like a physical thing. Like no matter, how good my abs are, then I'll need bigger muscles or something like that. And I came home and I looked in the mirror, I was like, oh, it was like, I made it. Like I fully just accept and appreciate my body for what it was. I mean, it was looking pretty good, but but it was really mentally, it's like, I'm good enough, and I think that was actually a big moment for me. And again, there's a few other things that happened that week. But one of them too later in the week was I found out that Scott was struggling, and I went and met up with him in Polson Park, and we sat down that day, and that was actually, really big for me to know that I could be there to help him and support him. And I remember we were sitting there and he's struggling, and I could tell I had brought some reading material that I thought maybe could help him, but he couldn't even really focus enough to read. I was even having difficulty having conversation at that point. It was tough. I remember there was this fellow who was a little bit frustrated behind us, a homeless fella, and he had his 3 shopping carts all lined up, and he was struggling to get them going, right? And I said, Scott, there's people with serious more challenges out there, and like because from on the outside his life looked good, but that's not what it's all about. So yeah,
that can be like difficult for some people who haven't maybe struggled with it to like pull that into perspective, right? Is like, hey man, like from the outside your life looks awesome, like why are you struggling, right? But I mean, I can relate to that too, maybe to a smaller degree, right? But like I would say my life right now is probably better than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Even though I'm going through all these like adverse things, right? Is like things are probably better than they've ever been mentally. Not the worst I've ever been, but also not the best I've ever been, right?
Yeah.
Like that self-chatter and negative self-talk is like a mother effer. Like it's
still there.
And it has its days, like the body thing, like you were talking about when I first got sober, right? And I wouldn't say I'm in great shape by any means. I'd say I'm in okay shape, but I had a similar experience, like looking in the mirror and like accepting myself, loving myself. Like it wasn't about like, oh, you got to be more ripped, you should be more shredded, or or like it was like, dude, like this is awesome. Like I was in love with myself.
Just love yourself,
right?
Yeah.
And that's definitely like diminished over time, right? And there's many times as of recently is like, man, your body looks like shit. Like that's like going on in my head, right? Like, what are you doing?
And that's the beating yourself up to make yourself better, and like,
it's not motivating.
It's more joyful to come at it with love. Like, I love myself, so maybe I want to be in a little bit better shape,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, and like you said too, like back then when I was in that place and like loving myself, it's like motivating to put work into myself, like to go to the gym, and I'm pursuing it for different reasons, right? It's like, I just want to take care of my, temple, if you will, right? Yeah. Like I know many people refer to it as that, instead of like, oh, I want to be fucking like it. I find for me anyway, that motivation is hard to sustain.
Yeah. Like, I just think it was an ad on the radio, just talking about, you got to love what you do. Otherwise, it's hard to keep anything going just strictly on motivation if you don't enjoy the activity, right? Like, say, I'm going to run 10 kilometers every day. Well, if you absolutely hate running, that's probably not going to work for you, So that's something I've learned, and it's not about the end destination in anything in life, really. It's, the goal is the journey. And, even my new career, it's like the goal is the system, right? Let the results take care of themselves, right? And that's kind of the same thing with life, with, getting in shape. Like for me, I don't really think about it anymore because I do activities that I enjoy. I hit my yoga, Pilates classes. I go for some runs, hikes, and and play a few sports, and I stay fairly active, and it just kind of takes care of itself now.
Yeah.
But it's it built it into like a way of life that I enjoy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Really good point.
Yeah. And then observing too, like, oh, I don't want to do this, oh, that's so much work. But then I go do it, and how do I feel after? And paying attention to that. So then remembering, oh yeah, remember how you felt the last time after you went and did that workout. Go do it.
Yeah.
Especially the early mornings, I still can have that mental fight, try to get to the 5:30 a.m. Hot Pilates class, and if I do, usually my day is fantastic, and I end up having more energy. And you go there, and it's people working out at 5:30 a.m. are all pretty positive energy people, so it's usually they say hi to some people, and it's not just the workout, it's you're getting a boost from the positive energy of the people in the room. But yeah, the bed's so comfy some mornings, and it's like I just want to sleep more.
Yeah,
it's a good problem, I guess, right? Yeah, doing things I enjoy. So
yeah,
and I did. I slept in today. I didn't go to the 5:30 a.m. Pilates, but I had a lot on the go today, and it's I went to the 4 p.m. So
oh, there you go.
Yeah, I had to get it in there. Yeah.
Do you want another coffee?
No, I'm good. It's it's late.
Yeah, that's important too, I think, is like remembering that feeling after. And I could definitely do more of that. Like, it was a struggle to get back to the gym, and then I went on Friday or Thursday, sometime last week, just once, and I hadn't gone for like months.
Yeah.
And after, I was like, I feel amazing, And there's a little bit of that, like looking in the mirror, like, all right,
nice.
We can see where this is going.
Yeah,
but
up the muscles a bit.
But the bed is comfy, and it's easy to just like, oh, I'm just gonna play video games or do this or that.
Yeah.
But I don't feel great after doing those things.
Yeah.
In the moment, they're awesome, but after, I'm like, fuck, you could have done this. The shoulda, woulda, couldas, you know. And I noticed I've been beating myself up lately about like. January will be 4 years sober, and a lot of these like things like the gym or like doing what we're doing right now or just shooting videos in general or like taking photos, all things I love, but I haven't been consistent with any of them for the 4 years. So I like find myself like, oh man, if you just stuck with it for the 4 years, you'd probably be amazed with where you're at right now.
Start now.
Yeah, which I have, but getting there was kind of hard.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm making up all these excuses in my head, and it's too late, and there's no point anyway. AI's coming, and no one's gonna watch your videos anymore, and
the self-defeating thoughts. Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. Talk it out, and a lot of them aren't real. What's the old acronym? False evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
And then once you eliminate all of that false evidence that appears real, you're left with the other fear, and that's the other acronym, face everything and recover. Right? Yeah. Just have the courage and do it.
Yeah, I'm learning to. Yeah. Because it's definitely, it's hard not to let fear control your life, like at any point, like, yeah, I'm still learning.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why spiritual principles will solve all of our problems. You hear these things, acceptance is the solution, and I say forgiveness, and when those are just words, and years ago those were just words and they didn't mean much to me, but today it's like those are real concepts, and it's actually true. But I think like the gift of our program, getting to a spiritual awakening, maybe the personality change sufficient to bring recovery from alcoholism, but I think as described by some of these spiritual teachers is like the separation of awareness and mind. Say, I am this greater consciousness. I am not my mind. Michael Singer does an incredible job of like explaining that, and Eckhart Tolle as well, like the witness consciousness, and just observe your thoughts without judgment. And that was one of the biggest key spiritual concepts for me, is like, oh, okay, I'm not my mind. So like, because when things got scary in there and I was just attached to my thinking, it's like, yeah, it got really scary, right? Like, those, when the dark places came, it was the suicidal thoughts. That's not a fun place to be, right? But with these, these ideas, like, I'm not my thoughts, I'm this greater consciousness, behind my mind, and creating that separation that I can see my mind without judgment. And like, oh, wow, things are really squirrely up there. I don't need to get into that. But that's been really helpful too, right? And learning to respond rather than react. And yeah.
Also a place I've been before, and it's like if I'm not practicing it, it kind of just like dwindled away, you know? Like, yeah. I think my first year of sobriety was definitely like very intense in a very good way. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of the things just kind of fell wayside, you know? It's like I just forgot about them. Like that idea, like that I'm not my thoughts.
Yeah.
Because there was a point where it was like I fully believed that and was living like that.
Yeah.
And you know, I remember in those times it was like I could do everything and live my life. It was like almost without even thinking about what I'm doing, if that's making any sense. It was like I already knew how to do everything and how to show up places and like be a good person without any mind chatter, you know? Almost on autopilot in a way.
Yeah. You built yourself some good habits, and now you feel like you're maybe not as regular with them, or life throws you curveballs, and
yeah. Yeah. And then I keep saying, I got to get back to these things. Yeah. And I don't do it.
Atomic Habits. Have you read that one?
No.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. I could probably deep dive into that. Another one. I've read it once, but I'm like, there's a lot of good information in here if I actually applied it. But I know I read it just this year, and I know I still don't apply a lot of things. But he talks about 1% better every day, which seems like just a little bit, but really it's a massive amount over any significant time. And,
yeah. Yeah. It's hard to remember that too, right? It's like just a little bit every day. Hence in 4 years, you might be at a pretty awesome place.
Yeah.
But if you don't do anything, I know myself well enough that I'll still be like, you idiot, if you utilize those 4 years. Ooh. The chatter will still be going on. That sometimes happens now.
I think you could sit here now and say, look at what a great life I've created for myself in the last 4 years. Like you have a amazing opportunity in front of you. You're, good character, right? And that's what it's like. That's, it's not so much about what we're doing. It's about who we are and our state of being, I think. And lots of good things going for you. Like, I guess, think of like how it could have gone. Like, say you've been drinking for the last 4 years. Like, where would your life be?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Not good. That much
Probably
I do
not,
know.
No. Yeah.
Maybe alive.
Yeah. And like how old are you? You're
25.
25, yeah. So your age, that's when it first would have become apparent that alcohol was really a problem in my life and in my marriage. And but I didn't know about alcoholism even at 25. And like, I remember at some point looking back, like, I can't remember the last day I didn't drink, and and then slowly just kept, slowly taking over. But that probably wasn't really until 25 that I really this is, there certainly was consequences that pointed to it was a problem. Yeah. But where this is like, this is like, I am drinking all the time and I can't stop, And then I think maybe I was 28 and I first got introduced to recovery, and still it was a long struggle for me. And 2 treatment centers, and then now it's been, will be 7 years at the end of this year.
Nice.
Alcohol free and building a beautiful life. Yeah.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's, I get excited about life. And even when I was down those couple times I talked about earlier, and it's interesting, like, and then I get out of it and I think, like, how could I have been kind of feeling even as a little low or whatever? It's like, it's kind of weird thinking, and because life's so good, I get excited, and that it can keep getting better too if I keep seeking and going along this spiritual path, and and seeking the path of unconditional happiness, and
it's lighting me up here, and you talk about it.
Yeah,
like there's just pieces of it that I miss, and then I'm like, how do I get back to that? Yeah, and I guess that would be applying the things that I was doing at the time when.
Maybe, do you have to have the pain to have that's what, I have a friend who mentioned, you got to have you go through the hard times to really enjoy the good times. And, and I say, well, like, you can't just be happy all the time, and I say, like, I've gone through my pain and stuff. I'm like, I don't need to keep experiencing it regularly. Of course it'll pop up and stuff, but, for the most part, it's not like I'm, stuffing stuff away to be happy anymore. Or, when I was drinking, I was stuffing stuff away, right? And,
Yeah, no, I can relate to that too. Like, it's not like I'm like moping around right now like, oh, poor me, my life sucks or anything like that. I would say I'm still happy most of the time, but there are times where I'm like, this isn't it, like I picture myself even further along than this at 25 instead of like, man, you're doing great.
In what way?
Like
what would put you further along? Like, how do you measure that?
Probably not with good metrics.
Yeah.
Probably like, financially, maybe a family, maybe this, maybe that, right? Maybe a nicer car, maybe like, things that in the grand scheme of things aren't super important.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, I have a lot of those things already. Like, great parents. I have a reliable car that gets me to work and home. I have some money in the bank, right? Like I'm not struggling. Like there's many things to be grateful for. But I guess comparison plays some role in that too, right? Like I see guys on YouTube and I'm like, oh man, if you made videos for 4 years, like you could be one of these guys. Like, instead of just like leaving that aside and just doing it because I love it without like the expectation of, making it tied to it, right? This, for example, is like just because I love it. This isn't to like blow up on YouTube and, oh my gosh, it's the best podcast in the world.
Well, this is a fun conversation. I say I'm enjoying this. Yeah.
Or like making videos, like I used to be so passionate about making videos and I just like stopped doing it, and like back when I was really passionate about it, and I still am passionate about it, but back when I was taking action on it, I guess, is like there was never any expectation tied to it. I was just doing it because I loved it, and I'm just trying to relight that fire.
Do you think maybe it's I think something I struggled with a bit this year is like so many ideas, like all these ideas, like it's almost overwhelming, and I have a bit of an outlet for these ideas with my career now, but I'm getting so wound up in all these ideas and not putting them into action or having enough direction to put them into action. So, and I think there was that discrepancy there where I'm like, oh, I want to be doing all these things, but I'm not. And then that doesn't feel good. I think for me it's too like, okay, squeeze that down to what can you actually be doing and what can you do today? What's important to do today? Make it a priority and what's that one thing you got to get done today and do it. And that's been helpful for me too, right? So I'm not the most organized and, or my mind's not the most organized. When you put stuff down on paper, it helps a bit too, but planning too far ahead's not really my thing, but it's.
Yeah, I would say that's very apparent in my life too, right? Is like, oh, I'm going to buy a guitar and I'm going to get good at guitar. Oh, get a racing simulator. I'm going to play that all the time. Yeah. Oh, get a laptop so you can make videos, which was a great purchase, and I don't regret that at all. But yeah, there's many things going on in my mind, and then I don't take action on any of them. And then that piece comes in where it's like, dude, if you played that guitar for 4 years, like you'd be jamming right now. Instead of like, okay, I'm gonna just play it today. Yeah. And I'm gonna pick it up today. It's like that's the missing link, I guess, is the action piece. And I caused myself a lot of grief just like sitting there thinking about the things instead of just doing one of them.
You think you have a bit of perfectionism or?
Oh yeah. The bar is like high, super high, and I'll never reach it anyway. Like it's unrealistic.
Yeah. I think for me, learning just put stuff out there. It doesn't have to be perfect. And even like the video I did this morning, which I think it turned out pretty good. I was, I'm not taking multiple takes. I'm just taking a video of myself and talking, and I'm going to put it out there. And,
Lo and behold, it got quite a bit of attention, right?
It's impacted some people, I think.
It's genuine.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. People connect with that. Mm-hmm. Even at the start of this, like a minute or two in, I'm like, oh, I messed up my words. Like, I should have said that. Like,
well, I didn't notice. So I think you're good. Yeah.
Any questions you have or any direction that you want to go in?
Well, I don't know. How are we doing for time? Are we getting close to the end?
It's up to you, man. We can...
I think one thing in my older age that I should talk to the doctor about the next time I see him is gotta go pee a lot. So this coffee's gone through me pretty quick. But yeah, it is. I do go to the doctor, and I think this is another thing, even with men not going to the doctor. And I got an awesome doctor, and I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, he'll help anything I got. And I'll book an appointment a month out, and the thing I was going for might heal itself, but I'll still go because always got so many things going on, and it's just good to see him too. But yeah, I do need to probably look into that one. It's been, can't hold the bladder too long lately. I'm not that old.
Without dragging this on for too long, the last like year, I would say, I've been having horrible sleeps, like up every 1 or 2 hours. Like, and the fatigue is intense. And it's actually like, I'm always hesitant around using this wording, and I don't want to use it as like a, blanket statement or anything like that, but I would say it has been causing like mild depression, if you will. Like, it's hard to, when I get home at the end of the day and my eyes are like almost burning because I'm so tired, it's hard to do stuff, right? Like, it's becomes easier to make excuses, I guess, right? Totally. It's like, I'm way too tired to go to the gym. Like, I can't even, there's no way. Like, even though I have gone to the gym, or I do other things instead of the gym, and I'm, fine. Maybe tired, but I can still do stuff. Yeah. Right? And so I have I got a doctor's appointment, did like a sleep apnea machine. And my doctor asked me, she's like, if you're like depressed, like I can set you up with a counselor. And I said, I'm only like depressed because I'm not getting great sleep. Like if I was depressed otherwise, or like, if it was like situational or something, like I would just tell you like, hey, I'm depressed. Like I need to see a counselor. So I would say she wasn't like fully believing me. She thought maybe this was more of like a mental thing. And then I got blood work done, and then she called me like a week later, and she's like, yeah, you have really low B12, and you have like something going on with your liver, like bilirubin levels or something. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not super educated on what that means exactly. Yeah, I don't know. But I've been taking B12 since then, and that must have been like at least 6 months ago. Yeah. And it hasn't been helping a ton. No. So now I made another doctor's appointment to kind of do a follow-up and be like, what other boxes can we check off? So I hope I figure that out, because I think that will help a lot. Yeah. Getting a solid night's rest for once. Because it's every single night. Like there's not a
You're not even getting more than like a couple hours at a time, or no? Oh.
Like never.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I struggle with my sleep, but I guess like I usually probably get like a 3 or 4 hour sleep before I start waking up, and I usually wake up pretty often, and I'm good with it now. Like I waking up, and I get tired in the evenings. I'm usually up pretty early, but I think for me, like not fighting it at least, like because I used to be, I can't fall asleep. It's like, man, my bed's comfy. I'm kind of glad that I'm awake. If I was just sleeping all night, I wouldn't be like noticing how comfortable I am right now. So that's one thing I do with my sleep, is like I don't get frustrated that I'm waking up in the middle of the night. I just try to enjoy how comfy the bed is. But that was another big turning point for me there, learning that, and
perspective and acceptance, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Could probably change a lot. Instead of waking up like, fuck, another night of no sleep, like
just be, oh man, I'm so comfy in my bed. Yeah. I find it a lot, how comfy the bed is has a lot to do with what's going on up in my head, because I wake up in the morning, and some mornings, I could just, comfy and just sleep here forever. And then I'll start thinking about work or something, and my mind gets squirrely, and I'm like, I'm not enjoying this. Like I'm trying to sleep in here. Like I might as well get up and do stuff if I'm going to be like thinking and not enjoying myself. Like, yeah.
Well, you ready to wrap it up then?
Yeah. It's getting probably close to my bedtime.
Sure.
Yeah, this has been really great. I think I wrote down 2 notes of things I wanted to talk about. I can't remember what they were. No, one was the difference between spirituality and religion. I think that I noted that because a lot of people, and I, for myself included, get confused between the two. But yeah, we don't need to really get into that. But
We can if you want. It's up to you, man.
yeah. But I would say, like, I'm curious, how would you define the word spirituality in one sentence?
That's a tough question. I don't even know how to begin to answer that. I don't know, like my mind wants to go to I don't know, that everyone's connected on a deeper level than meets the eye, or like, I don't know. That's really tough to answer.
Well, I think even spirituality, ask any person, everybody's probably got a different perspective on it. And like for me, I guess like because I associated the word God with spirituality and then religion, and it was, I don't really want anything to do with that. And like today, I say, well, spirituality is really just a way of thinking that produces a happy, joyous, and free life. And that's something I want. And like, because you live by these core, spiritual principles, like based in love, acceptance, forgiveness, unity, honesty, open-mindedness, willingness, acceptance, those things, right? And it's like, it actually works.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Oh man, if I keep talking, I guess I'll say one thing. Like my first week or two of sobriety, I remember just having this like God consciousness, right? Or like something of that nature. And it was like, I felt connected with everyone in the entire world. Like I was like, I love every single person in the whole world. That may not mean that I like all of them, but I like love them. It was like, I guess like the fundamental idea of like everyone being a child of God, like that kind of thing.
Feeling oneness.
Yeah. It was like intense.
Totally. Yeah.
Like,
wow, that's cool.
If I didn't have that, man, I don't know if I'd still be sober.
Would you call that like a spiritual awakening or a spiritual experience?
Time.
Or
big time. I was driving home from a meeting. It was like this beautiful sunset, and this is only like I said, a week or two into sobriety. And I was like looking at this sunset, and I just like started bawling, like smiling. So it was like I'd never seen a sunset in my entire life. Like it was like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And then I was like looking at my car, like I couldn't even believe I owned my car.
Yeah.
Like I was like, what? Like such a nice car. Like,
that's awesome.
Absolutely in love. Like,
my house got bigger recently. I was sitting on the couch, I'm like, man, my house, I got such a big house. I'm like, this is great. I'm like, I didn't look at it that way before, but
those moments, man, are like definitely keep me moving forward, like through the tough times.
Yeah.
Like when I have those, I mean, they're usually rooted in gratitude, but just like, can't believe that my life is mine, And I guess I'm like yearning for more of those moments.
Yeah.
Like just for that piece to click, like, man, you were so lucky.
Yeah.
Like you were so lucky. Like for many reasons, not just one,
Yeah. Yeah, I can relate that to my first year. Like you asked about like after Scott passed, like that's some of the most emotional moments of grief for me. Is like I remember being out like by the lake, and it's like crystal clear and glass, and just being like just seeing the beauty in it and just being so grateful, and then getting hit with this. Oh, he doesn't get to experience this anymore. He's missing out. Yeah, but I've noticed too. Even just this last year, things. Nature and everything, the mountains. I didn't used to see the mountains like I see them now, right? Like there's so much beauty in this world. And just how does it even come to be, or how do we exist? And there's so much stuff, my body, I don't do anything, and it just takes care of itself, right? I cut myself, it heals. And it's, wow, like the world and life is absolutely like amazing if you see it, right? Sure. Yeah. I stopped and looked at a little tree today, right? And just, I was like, oh, cute, like compared to the big ones, they're kind of cute, and just observing the absolute perfection of this tree. And I was looking at the different trees. This is up at Rose Swanson. Who would say that any of these trees are not perfect, right? So why do we say that we're not perfect? Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I think like you look at any animal. Who's to say any? I think generally people probably agree with that. And these, it's perfect. Why wouldn't it be, right?
Yeah.
But it's just our ideas that tell us that we're not perfect. And yeah. So, yeah.
Just, I feel like the conversation won't end if I keep bringing something up, but you know, the idea of like, if we're not looking for God or whatever you want to call it, a higher power, like divine intervention or divine timing or like anything of that nature, is like, if you're not seeking it out or looking for it, it's like, you won't see it, you know? So it'll like, it could change from that attitude of like, wow, my house is so big, instead, you know, as opposed to like,
I want more.
Yeah.
I want more.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like so much of it is just perspective.
Yeah. You stop just wanting and just start being like grateful for all that you have. That's pretty powerful stuff. And it's like, I just think about if you were to punch into the AI or whatever, tell me the 5 keys to happiness. And, you know, I don't think there'd be anything in there about a nicer house or
I think you're probably
fancier
right. I think you're probably right. Yeah. Like, yeah. Expectations too, which is like funny because some of these expectations were like when I was still drinking before I got sober, of being further than I am right now. But the reality of it is like, if I didn't stop drinking, I would be even further away from those things than I am right now, you know? And it's like, yeah, I lose sight of that.
Yeah. Well, I say from my outside perspective, I think you're doing great and you have amazing opportunity in front of you. I guess you're single, right? And young, handsome guy who's pointing in the right direction. And man, so much to be excited about in your life, I think, from what I can see. So
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we wrap it up there?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Are you a hugger?
Yeah.
All right.
Of course.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Daniel.